Over the years, Naruto introduced fans to plenty of villains, from the revenge-driven Sasuke Uchiha to the twisted scientist Orochimaru, and even the godlike Kaguya Otsutsuki. But if there's one antagonist who truly stands above the rest, it's Pain, the terrifying leader of the Akatsuki during Naruto Shippuden's most intense arc. Pain wasn't just another bad guy trying to destroy the world. He was a villain with depth, a tragic backstory, and a mission that made way too much sense. His introduction raised the stakes like never before. His powers were absolutely insane, and his ideology forced both Naruto and the audience to think differently about war and peace. Even though he wasn't the final villain, Pain was the most impactful, and here's why he remains Naruto's greatest antagonist. Pain is Naruto's dark reflection. One of the coolest things about Pain is how similar he is to Naruto. While many villains in anime are total opposites of their hero counterparts, Pain and Naruto are basically two sides of the same coin. They both had tough childhoods, they both dreamed of bringing peace to the world, and they both trained under Jiraiya. The only difference? Naruto had people who guided him down the right path, while Pain was consumed by the suffering he endured. If just one thing had gone differently, Naruto could have ended up exactly like Pain, which makes their battle even more intense. He was hyped up for years before his big reveal. A great villain isn't just someone who shows up out of nowhere and causes trouble. The best villains are built up over time, making their entrance even more dramatic. That's exactly what happened with Pain. For years, he was just a mysterious hologram leading the Akatsuki, a shadowy figure with strange eyes that hinted at an overwhelming power. Fans had no idea what he was truly capable of, but when he finally stepped into the spotlight, he did not disappoint. The Rinnegan made him one of the strongest villains ever. Before Pain, Naruto had already introduced powerful dojutsu like the Sharingan and Byakugan. But then Pain came along with the Rinnegan, and suddenly, those other eye powers seemed almost tame in comparison. The Rinnegan allowed him to split his consciousness into 6 bodies, each with its own insane abilities, from summoning giant creatures to reviving the dead. Later in the series, the Rinnegan's abilities were expanded even further, proving it was one of the most overpowered jutsu in the entire Naruto universe. He was more sympathetic than most villains. Unlike villains like Orochimaru, who just wanted power for himself, or Madara, who only cared about his own vision of the world, Pain actually had a reason for his actions that made sense. He wasn't evil just for the sake of being evil. He was trying to end the cycle of violence that had destroyed his homeland. His tragic past, where he lost his best friend Yahiko, made him one of the most heartbreaking villains in anime. He didn't want to hurt people for fun. He truly believed he was doing what needed to be done to bring peace. He forced Naruto, and the audience, to think about the cycle of hatred. Pain wasn't just a physical threat. He also challenged Naruto on a philosophical level. Up until this point, Naruto had always believed that if he worked hard enough and never gave up, he could make the world a better place. But Pain forced him to confront a harsh reality. No matter how hard one person fights for peace, there will always be hatred and suffering. This debate about the cycle of hatred got fans thinking too, making Pain one of the most thought-provoking villains in the series. His backstory was the perfect tragic villain origin. Pain's flashback was one of the most emotional moments in Naruto. It showed how he, Yahiko, and Konan struggled to survive in a war-torn land, how they were trained by Jiraiya, and how their dream of peace was shattered when Yahiko was forced to die. Seeing Nagato transform from an idealistic kid into the ruthless Pain made him one of the most compelling villains in anime. He raised the stakes by killing Jiraiya. Up until this point, Naruto had suffered losses, but nothing hit him as hard as Jiraiya's death. Jiraiya was not only one of the strongest ninja in the Hidden Leaf, but he was also Naruto's father figure. Watching Pain brutally defeat him was devastating, and it made the fight between Naruto and Pain even more personal. Losing Jiraiya forced Naruto to mature and understand the weight of being a hero. He did what Orochimaru couldn't. He destroyed the Hidden Leaf. Orochimaru spent years trying to destroy the Hidden Leaf village, but even with all his plans, he never managed to pull it off. Pain, on the other hand, walked right in and wiped the entire village off the map in seconds with one almighty push. That moment alone proved that he was on a whole different level compared to previous villains. His fight with Naruto was one of the best battles in the series. Naruto has plenty of epic battles, but the fight between Naruto and Pain is easily one of the best. It wasn't just a battle of brute strength, it was a clash of ideals, with Naruto pushing himself to his limits against a villain who had already beaten everyone else. The fight had everything: strategy, emotion, insane jutsu, and one of Naruto's most badass transformations when he unleashed Sage Mode. His redemption made Naruto a true hero. Unlike most villains, who are simply defeated and forgotten, Pain's story ended with redemption. After his battle with Naruto, he finally realized that his plan wouldn't truly bring peace. Instead of continuing his destruction, he used the last of his power to revive everyone he had killed, proving that deep down, he was still the idealistic Nagato that Jiraiya once trained. Even more importantly, this moment cemented Naruto's role as the one who could truly change the ninja world for the better. Conclusion: Pain wasn't just the best villain in Naruto. He was one of the greatest villains in anime history. His presence shook the entire series, his ideology challenged both Naruto and the audience, and his story was filled with tragedy, power, and redemption. While stronger villains appeared later in the series, none of them had the same impact as Pain. From his terrifying abilities to his heartbreaking backstory, Pain was the ultimate antagonist, making the Pain arc one of the most unforgettable moments in Naruto.